Here's Spectrum News 1. You're getting the information that you need. You're hearing
Here
from
it is.
policymakers so that you can
The news about the coronavirus.
is right there in
That's
your
right.
community where you live.
The news about the coronavirus.
This is 2020 on Spectrum News 1. Exclusively on Spectrum.
We know changes are happening. We know there's more to be done. Now, as our community rebuilds, we'll continue to support each other, caring for neighbors and family today, so we can all be together tomorrow. We know none of this has been easy. Thank you, Ohio. We're proud to tell your stories every day. We are Spectrum News 1.
Here it is.
Exclusively on
The
Spectrum.
news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty, and we're watching chances for not only showers, but potentially a few thunderstorms in this afternoon's forecast as well. The good news is, because we saw a decent amount of cloud cover early today, we don't expect a whole lot of instability, allowing for much in the way of severe thunderstorm development. So while it can't be ruled out completely, it is highly unlikely. Still, watch out for the possibility of some claps of thunder and some breeze-heavy downpours that will continue into this evening's forecast as well. We'll still be looking at chances for some showers and some thunderstorms gradually starting to clear things out overnight. And after around midnight, most of our, especially thunderstorm chances, are going to be gone, but the majority of our rain chances as well. Still some spot showers continue even into overnight tonight, particularly for areas right along the lakeshore. So even 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, don't be surprised if you wake up to a few sprinkles. And then likely as those showers move on shore, they are going to intensify a little bit more. So by around 10, 11 a.m., some breeze-heavy downpours will be possible, and then we'll keep those thunderstorms in the forecast through at least early Tuesday afternoon, and then we'll start to clear things out a little bit more by Tuesday evening. So still keeping rain chances in the mix today as well as tomorrow, at least about a 30% chance for those showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday, but then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're seeing much more quiet conditions in the forecast. In fact, a really beautiful couple of days is coming our way in the middle of the week. So enjoy those, because the heat as well as the humidity are going to be coming back for the weekend. So back above average temperatures in the forecast, and Sunday really starting to feel a little bit more summery with our daytime highs in the upper 80s. Now this is right along the lakeshore, but as we get away from the lake, we could see a few 90s returning to Northeast Ohio's forecast on Sunday afternoon. On Lake Erie, water temperatures in the 70s, winds lighter today out of the southwest at 5 to 10 knots, but again, there is that possibility of some thunderstorms. For your 7-day, starting Wednesday, we've got a nice dry, sunny stretch in the mix, but Friday, we're going back up into the 80s with mid to upper 80s in the forecast for the weekend. For some of those participating in rallies against police brutality, it's personal. For others, it's a chance to live the values passed down from their parents, but at the heart of it is the hope for lasting change. Spectrum News reporter Leanne Wallace has more on the effect of sharing stories.
I just have to reset mentally.
Anthony Evans has a story to tell.
I was injured by a police officer with a rubber bullet or a rubber beanbag that was shot to the jaw.
And Nico Loiza wants to give him the platform to tell it. In his own words,
I want to go back to just the whole healing process of it. It hasn't been as easy as I would like it to be.
Anthony's jaw has been wired shut for almost 2 months. It's been a long healing process, but Anthony refuses to stay angry. It's that positive energy that drew Nico to Anthony.
He was just so overwhelmingly positive, and he just had such a genuineness about him.
Nico's day job is photography.
The images of the first weekend, some of them, still haunt me.
He was inspired to document the Black Lives Matter protests in the city he grew up in, and part of his passion for racial justice was passed down from his late father, who also had a story to tell.
He was Pedro Negro, so he came to Peru when he was 17, 18 years old for the education, but he was one of those people. He wasn't necessarily biracial, but in Latin American culture, if you are a black Latin, it's kind of, you're not black enough.
Shortly after moving to Texas, Nico's parents met in Austin Silver Park, and they bought a house nearby.
And he told me before, when cops would come to the house and stuff like that, they wouldn't believe that he was a property owner. My dad always made such a point to talk about how the opportunity in America is unparalleled. That's the reason why people come here. But at the same time, he was like, do not get it twisted. This place still thrives in racist ways.
While his dad isn't here to stand in solidarity with those fighting against police brutality, Nico is thankful for the stories he shared and the countless stories still being shared today.
For my dad now, I think that he would be very, very proud.
For Spectrum News, I'm Leanne Wallace.
So ahead, we'll have the latest headlines and an updated check of your Weather on the One's forecast. But first, over the past 2 months, we've heard from dozens of Ohioans as to why they are using their voice to create change. This week, we relive some of those voices, including today, where we hear from the Ohio State Student Body President. Here's what she and other students say they're pushing for at Ohio's largest university.
My name is Roya Hijazi. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a rising fourth year at Ohio State, and I was recently elected as student body president. I felt that my identity and the things that I was passionate about didn't really have a space in student government. So one of my biggest motivations for running for student body president was to elevate the needs and the passions and the issues that surround marginalized students on our campus and support them in creating change through the avenues that are available to us at Ohio State. So growing up as a Muslim student, oftentimes I would have to celebrate holidays or fast religious observations during school, and it's hard to receive accommodations for something that's not recognized on the academic calendar. So what we were able to do is advocate for testing centers to stay open after sundown for students who are fasting during the month of Ramadan. So just thinking about how I am able to pull my own personal experiences into the institutional level that can ultimately support all different students. So as a Black Muslim woman walking into a lot of these meetings and trying to advocate for these experiences, sometimes it is seen as you're coming from an emotional place or a very personal place. And it's really easy to get things like that pushed under the rug. But I do think that there's a lot of power in personal experiences and emotional experiences, because that is what's affecting people on the ground. So there's no reason for me not to bring that into a policy and decision-making level. It's not our job to speak on behalf of people or advocate on behalf of them, but it's our job to give them the tools so that they feel empowered to do so for themselves.
Do you know with Spectrum Mobile you can talk and text as much as you want for free? I can afford that. There are no surprise taxes or fees. Even better. And plans start at $14 a month. $14? I spent $14 on this cup of coffee. That's a lot for a cup of coffee. Well, it's got 6 shots of espresso, so... Why would you do that? I'm a go-getter. I got big plans for this place. I'm going to repaint something softer. It's too bright. I'm going to revarnish this table. You want some sandwiches? I'm going to make you some sandwiches. With plans from $14 a month and no surprise taxes or fees. Get Spectrum Mobile. Making sandwiches and I'm sweet.
Because it's the real story of us. It's the real story of community. I'm Mary Lee Melendez, anchor reporter, Spectrum News 1.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people.
We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the One.
Weather on the One, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
Voting is a lot more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing from the policymakers so that you can make the decision. The real impact is right there in your local community where you live. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
We know changes are happening. We know there's more to be done. Now, as our community rebuilds, we'll continue to support each other, caring for neighbors and family today, so we can all be together tomorrow. We know none of this has been easy. Thank you, Ohio. We're proud to tell your stories every day. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Whenever Charlie felt different, he remembered what his mother taught him. Different isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. Different is different, and different is okay.
Welcome back. You're watching Spectrum News 1, Ohio's only 24-hour statewide news channel. I'm Lindsay Oliver. Taking pride in Ohioans, an author is spreading positive messages about having a disability, how she is inspiring parents to embrace their children's gifts in today's Ohio Story. We'll have that story coming up in just a few minutes, but first, let's get a quick check of your weather on the one's forecast.
We've been tracking showers and heading through the afternoon. We are likely going to see some flaps of thunder, but thanks to many of us seeing a good amount of cloud cover early in the day, it looks like the vast majority of those storms are going to stay well below severe level criteria. Still, we're starting to see more sunshine, so a couple of more potent storms with some gusty winds, a brief downpour, and of course cloud-to-ground lightning will be possible. That's not certainly something we're going to see on a widespread scale. However, showers are. We're going to continue to keep those rain chances in play through the afternoon and into this evening as well. And at times, some heavy downpours, some flaps of thunder, and some gusty winds will certainly be possible. But again, expecting most of our storms to remain well below severe levels. With more clouds in place, however, they start to break up during the afternoon. Some of us are going to stay in the 70s, but where we do manage to get a little bit more sunshine, we're going to get those readings up into the low to mid 80s this afternoon. 85 today in Athens, 84 in Columbus, and staying in the low 80s for Northwest as well as much of southwestern Ohio. I'll have more details on when 90s make a comeback for many of us. That's just ahead in the next few minutes.
Almost 1 year ago, 9 innocent lives were lost during a tragic shooting in Dayton's Oregon District. Now one of the victim's sons is looking to move forward. Jan Green was there the night his father, Derek Fudge, lost his life. Every day he battles with the pain he endured from that tragic night. But therapy, support, and sharing his story have helped him move forward. This year he published a book called Untitled, Act of God, Act of Man. He also created the Fudge Foundation, which stands for Flourishing Under Distress, Giving Encouragement. Through his nonprofit, he hopes to help others like him heal.
I know what it is, getting in that dark tunnel, and if there's nobody there to support or help you out, you can be lost to suicide, to addiction, and to many other illnesses that can occur from depressions. I've been there, so I'm going to hold other people's hands and help them get through it so we can all shine together.
To learn more about his book and the Fudge Foundation, you can visit beyondgreen.com. With the stress of the pandemic, some are looking for a mini getaway to relax, but still stay safe. The Lodge at Geneva on the Lake is a way you can escape reality while staying in Ohio. The Lodge has reopened and resumed their wine tours. Tours include stops at 3 to 4 wineries, and they've been updated to accommodate COVID-19. Shuttles operate at a capacity of 8 guests instead of 14, and undergo a deep sanitation and cleaning process in between each stop. You can also rent golf carts, swim in the inside or outdoor pool, and you can explore the outside beauty.
We have one of the most fantastic views, I would say, on Lake Erie. So even if all you're doing is just staying here, enjoying the pool and the lake itself, the wineries are bonus, I think.
And we can relax and enjoy nature, the vineyards, and feel safe, which is very important because right now so many people don't.
For more information on how to visit Geneva on the Lake, go to SpectrumNews1.com and click on the story. Infertility is an issue many people experience. One Cincinnati couple is sharing their story in hopes of helping others. Carrie and Chris Stewart say they had difficulty getting pregnant. After looking at all the options, the couple learned about embryo adoption. It's a process where an embryo from another couple's IVF cycle is used to get pregnant. The couple says they either wanted a child that was entirely theirs genetically or neither of theirs. sharing their journey brings hope to other couples that may be experiencing similar struggles.
You will feel joy again. That was my biggest concern through all of this, is I felt so sad, and I felt like I would never experience true happiness in what our family looks like, and it does happen again.
Chris and Carrie are expecting baby number 2 in February. In today's edition of Ohio Stories, children's book author Amy Webb writes about her daughter to educate others about limb differences and to illustrate the many ways in which her daughter navigates the world.
Charlie likes to do lots of different things. Sometimes Charlie likes to be loud and wild. He likes to climb and swing and run with his friends. But Charlie also likes to be quiet. He likes to sit and think and draw by himself. This made Charlie feel different. Whenever Charlie felt different, he remembered what his mother taught him. Different isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. Different is different, and different is okay.
I was pregnant with my little daughter, and we found out that she was going to be disabled. So she has what we call limb differences. I mean, she has a more specific diagnosis, but really anyone who's born with any difference on any limb has a limb difference. I remember someone at church kind of been saying, oh, you know, what a poor thing, we feel so bad for you. And I just remember thinking, they've already counted her out, and she's not even born. My daughter's disabilities are very visible, right? There's some disabilities that are invisible, hers are very visible, she doesn't fly under the radar. Literally, there's been several times where she's gone to a playground and suddenly the kids just surround her and ask questions. And we would have these scenarios, and again, there's no manual for this, how to handle this as a parent. There was no, like, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, and for so long I felt like I was just stumbling through until I finally kind of got this rhythm down of how to handle this. Telling kids it's okay if they had questions, but also, like, you have to be nice, and you have to do that. You know, we can't use rude words, and weird is a rude word, and we use, you know, she's different, but she's not weird. And then I sort of ended with, like, there's some things I bet she can do that you guys can't do, and they're always like, what? And you know, I talk about how she writes with her feet, or how she eats with her feet, and that. And I think, you know, parents need to teach their kids. They need to have these conversations with their children. But it's like, you know, how often you're sitting down at dinner and being like, hey kids, did you know someone could be born without arms? Like, I know parents aren't just like naturally sitting down and having those conversations. And so I just started writing, and that's when it really turned into this, you know, this way for me to process my feelings and just to process so much information in the world. I've interviewed 240 different families and individuals, and so that just, I really look back and think, like, that was an education for me. As one of the people in this interview series has said, what it looks like to be human in this world, and all the various ways that can look. Seeing a lot of parents not knowing how to handle it, knowing they wanted to do the right thing, but the polite thing in the moment was to shush and turn their child away because they were uncomfortable. You know, not seeing children in wheelchairs in their TV shows, in their, you know, magazines, in their Disney movies, led to this, like, heightened awareness on a micro level. And then I had the idea to write a children's book. I don't know if you've ever had just, like, a knowing kind of settle on you, and just, like, this is what you're supposed to do. So the main message, too, I wanted to get across, again, is that idea of not pitying us. That different, it isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. It's just different, and that's okay. There's a spread in here where you see all these different kids represented. So you see, you know, a kid with a walker, you see Emma with her wheelchair, you see a mom doing sign language with her children, these things that aren't often represented. I just think, man, I wish I could just, like, walk in front of her with a billboard of, like, this is how you should interact with her, this is parents, this is what you can do, and I thought, I can't do that, but the book became my billboard. If you can have this representation of this little girl, and she's in a wheelchair, sitting on the shelf, you know, with the Cat in the Hat and Hungry Caterpillars, like, that's just going to expose them at a young age. It just normalizes, for lack of a better word, what is actually a very normal experience, which is disability. You know, people said, was this based on a real experience? I was like, it was based on lots of real experiences. You know, it was we lived that a lot. You know, it's been over a year since the book's been out, and to still get messages or to still have people write about it or talk about it and how it has impacted people who are disabled and what it's meant for them to have their kids sometimes see themselves represented in the book or someone like them represented in the book. To me, I think that has been the bigger emotional impact, is to watch it do where I really strongly felt it would do, but also, you can't prepare yourself to understand that. I always say, that when she was born, it was like I was given a new set of eyes, and I've never seen the world the same way again. And in a very good way. Her disability has taught me a lot about human possibilities. It helps me see the variance and the beauty of what it is to be human in this world. I'm Amy Webb, and this is my story.
Another day of wet weather as we start our work week. Let's get a check of your Weather on the One's forecast.
Hey there, and good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty, and thank you so much for checking in with us for your updated Weather on the One's forecast. We'll continue to see some spot showers and a few clouds of thunder into this evening. Notice how once we get into around 8, 9 o'clock, these storms really start to fizzle out, and much of our overnight time frame is going to be dry. However, I can rule out a little bit of rain by early tomorrow morning, especially for some areas right along the lakeshore. But after midnight tonight, we should start to see that clearing line move through. Now, in terms of rainfall totals, we're not going to see too many heavy downpours here in northeastern Ohio, but there will be a couple of pockets where we can pick up maybe a ½ inch of rain or so coming our way over the next 12 hours. Pretty patchy in terms of those thunderstorm chances, so we're starting to see a little bit more cloud cover building in along the lakeshore. Other
Here
spots
it is.
clouded over more than others.
The news about the coronavirus.
Where we do see a decent amount
That's
of sunshine
right.
in between those round
The news
showers.
about the
Thunderstorms
coronavirus.
until around 9, 10 p.m. After that, we really start to see that coverage dwindling. Overnight lows coming down into the 60s, 63 tonight. Youngstown dropping to an overnight low of 65 degrees for Cleveland. Now, as far as our temperatures go over the next few afternoons, we're not going to see a huge change over the next couple of days. So Tuesday into Wednesday, even Thursday, we're keeping our afternoon highs in the 70s, so slightly below average for this point in the year. Now, heads up, if there is one day you will absolutely want to make sure you spend some time outside, it's going to be Wednesday. Cool temperatures, lots of sunshine, and then from there, Thursday looks great. Friday, we're going to start to build in a little bit more heat and also a little bit more humidity. First up, let's go ahead and bring you the updated 2 o'clock numbers on Tropical Storm Isaias. Winds are at 70 miles an hour. Now, this is just below Category 1 hurricane strength, and it's likely going to have just enough time to become a hurricane once again before making landfall in the Carolinas later on tonight. From there, we're going to watch this start to curve a little bit more to the northeast. So that means we're not expecting direct impacts to us here in northeastern Ohio, but what it will do is be responsible for that little extra kick of moisture that we're going to see throughout the day on Tuesday and possibly even into very early Wednesday morning. A little bit of moisture coming in off the lake, but then behind that, much drier, cooler, comfortable conditions, at least briefly, come back into our forecast. Then we talk about a weekend where those temperatures do start to warm up. We reintroduce some humidity, and we talk about chances for late-day showers and thunderstorms. That 7 days coming up in less than 10 minutes. Now your Storm Track Doppler radar.
A closer look at coronavirus cases overseas. The new numbers just reported and what they can mean for us here at home.
Watch live news on the go from your team at Spectrum News 1 with the new Spectrum News app. Your all-in-one destination for local news, weather forecast, and events. The new Spectrum News app, your community connection. Learn more at SpectrumNewsApp.com. Download on the App Store or get it on Google Play.
It's summer. Time to relax. Bottom line, Vandermeer will get you approved.
Lease a new Chevy for $199 a month with 0 down. Take 25% off or get 0% for 84 months. You choose.
Come join the Vandermeer bus. Fight smart, please.
What if you had to choose between fixing the roof over your head and putting food on the table? What if that leak led to mold growing in your home? What if you no longer had a safe place to call home? Help Rebuilding Together make repairs for our neighbors who have lost jobs and have to make those difficult choices. Text REBUILD to 484848.
Powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing from the policymakers so that you can make the decision. The real impact is right there in your local community where you live. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people.
We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the One.
Weather on the One, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
So this is Eva, and she goes everywhere with me. Like her, I have this innate sense of curiosity. I really like meeting new people. I love to explore, and right now I'm trying to travel to every national park across the country. Every morning, that same curiosity is what drives me as a journalist. News 1, I'm Sophia Constantine. It really fuels the type of stories that we do. It defines us as Ohioans, and it's why I'm so excited to call this place home. We're taking a look at coronavirus cases overseas. India's Ministry of Health is reporting 1.7 million confirmed COVID-19 cases. There were nearly 55,000 new cases reported Sunday. There have been more than 37,000 COVID-19 related deaths in the country so far. Around 1.1 million patients have recovered from the virus after receiving treatment. And cases around the world are reaching another grim milestone. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, the number of cases is now more than 18 million. More than 500,000 people have died from COVID-19. The United States has the highest number of confirmed cases with more than 46 million infections. Eli Lilly and Company is moving into a late-phase clinical trial of its antibody treatment for COVID-19. The pharmaceutical giant says it's recruiting 2,400 nursing home residents and staff for the trial, now entering its third phase. That population is the hardest hit by the pandemic. The hope is the therapy will offer protection and possibly ease symptoms for those who are infected. The trial will determine if a single dose reduces the rate of infection over a month. It will also determine if it can reduce COVID-19 complications over 2 months. Coming up, hockey returns. A recap of the Columbus Blue Jackets' first game back after a long pause. And during the break, you can stay up to date with the top headlines with the brand new Spectrum News app. Go to SpectrumNewsApp.com to learn more.
After working in another area, I was really excited about the opportunity to come back to a place where I spent over a decade. When it came time to plant roots and start a family, we wanted to do it right here in Ohio. This is where I learned my values. This is where I learned my appreciation for television news. What excites me most about it is being able to tell people the stories. I spent a number of years in Cleveland and Cincinnati, and it's given me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day. Welcome to Your Morning News. I'm Sophia Constantine.
We saw a gorgeous sunrise out there this morning.
Let's begin your day with your Weather on the One.
Your Morning News, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1.
Voting is a lot more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing from the policymakers so that you can make the decision. The real impact is right there in your local community where you live. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.